Okay.
Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It is March 17th and it's our regular meeting. I'd like to resolution for the agenda, please.
Moved by Harold Levine, second by Maureen McMillan. Be it resolved that Council for the Township of Killaloe, Haggerty, and Richards hereby adopts the agenda for the regular council meeting of March 17th, 2026 as presented.
All those in favor? Carried. And now I will read the First Nations land acknowledgement. As we gather today, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of this committee and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. And we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. And please join me in a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. And now my address. As many of you are aware, over the past several months, I have been the subject of a complaint, an integrity commissioner investigation, and ultimately the imposition of sanctions by council. I have been transparent throughout this process, and I owe it to the residents of Killaloe, Haggerty, and Richards to be equally transparent about what comes next. Let me be clear. I have been advised by two law firms that the sanctions imposed upon me by council are unlawful. The oppressive restrictions placed on my ability to communicate with township staff go far beyond what the Municipal Act permits. The law allows council to impose a reprimand or a suspension of remuneration for 90 days, nothing more. The law does not allow council to split a single finding into two separate suspensions of pay, doubling the statutory limit imposed in the Municipal Act. Council also does not have the authority under the Municipal Act to undermine the ability of the mayor to communicate with staff and to give direction to staff as the chief executive officer of the township and head of council. What council has done here exceeds their statutory authority and amounts to an abuse of process. What council has done is wrong. It has taken unprecedented steps to handcuff a duly elected mayor, impair the exercise of lawful authority granted by the province, and attempt to silence a voice that was elected to lead. I believe this council's actions were motivated not by principle, but in a bad faith desire to frustrate the mandate of the people of this township that they gave me. The manner in which these sanctions were imposed, with my reasonable request for a brief adjournment to obtain legal advice summarily denied, was procedurally unfair and a repetition of the duty to act in good faith in discharging the responsibilities of elected office. I have sought and received legal advice confirming that I have a strong court case to set aside the resolution of council. My lawyers were prepared to bring that case before the courts, and we are confident it would have succeeded. Ontario courts have previously struck down attempts by councils to punish elected members with penalties beyond those that the Municipal Act permits. However, after careful reflection, I have decided that I will not be proceeding with an application for judicial review by a Superior Court judge at this time. I have been advised that due to the backlog of cases before our courts arising from delays due to COVID, it is very unlikely that the judicial review would be heard and decided before the next municipal election in October. My decision is not a concession, but a practical one, made in the best interest of this community. Any informed and objective ratepayer in our township who has followed the workings of this council will agree with me. I commend Kathy Marion for her very articulate letter to the editor, setting out the true facts reflecting the role of this council and key reforms I have attempted to advance. The residents of this township deserve a mayor who is focused on serving them and not time consumed by a judicial review. Hearing that council itself has objectively caused out of spite. Given that council has suspended the mayor's remuneration for a 6-month period, I would respectfully ask council to consider directing an equivalent amount to local service clubs or community organizations within our township that I may choose. Our community is supported by many dedicated volunteers and service groups who give their time to support residents, community events, and local initiatives. Redirecting these funds in that way would ensure the money continues to benefit the people of our township and recognizes the important role these organizations play in strengthening our community. I believe this would be a constructive way to ensure that those funds continue to serve the community in a positive way. In the meantime, I ask for your continued support, and I pledge to continue giving this community everything I have. And some places I've been at and things I've done for the month of March. March 4th was a water and wastewater committee. On the 9th was an Irish gathering meeting. On the 10th was a committee of the whole. The 12th, county council, along with committees of health, corporate services, and community services. And on the 12th also was a final budget meeting. And the full details of the budget will be announced and brought forward on April the 7th. But just to give you a heads up, it's a 3.5% tax increase. And I'd like to give a special shout out to our roads department, as this winter does not seem to be ending. We can all say thank you just by waving to them as they go by. And this concludes my report for March 17th. And does anyone have any pecuniary financial interest to declare? Having seen none. And our first delegation, Brian.
Is the microphone working all right?
Sounds great.
Yeah, great. Good evening, everybody. I'm Brian Whiffen. I'm the president of the Killaloe and Area Pickleball Club. I'm here with a delegation of our board members. So we have Karen Utron here today, as well as Terry Whiffen. So we've submitted a proposal to the township for consideration. I'll say it's a preliminary proposal for some improvements to the pickleball courts at the Killaloe rink. So we've called it surface improvements for pickleball courts at the Killaloe rink. In terms of the timing of the project, it would be dependent on funding. It could potentially happen this summer. It could be delayed to a subsequent year. The cost of the project varies between $10,000 and $55,000, depending on the nature of the improvements and how it's implemented. So our proposal goes through some of the details, so I'll just walk through that. So in terms of background, the Killaloe Area Pickleball Club started up in 2023. It's grown quite a bit. We've grown to over 100 members as of last year. There's a lot of different sessions that are held at the Killaloe rink. So it totaled 161 sessions through the summer last year. So it's roughly six a week. So almost every day there's something going on. So it is getting used quite a bit. As you know, pickleball is played on the surface of the hockey rink, so it's an asphalt surface, and the township has kindly helped to improve that. They've cleaned it in the spring, painted lines on it, and provided access to the change rooms for us to use. So that's great. While the Killaloe Area Pickleball Club continues to play on the surface, it's not an ideally suited surface for pickleball. So we mentioned this in some of our earlier meetings, that there is some irregularities in the surface. It works well to contain the water for the hockey rink, but it is irregular and the asphalt has started to degrade. So we're basically looking for ways to improve that surface so it's better for pickleball. We looked at a number of different options that could be implemented. Ideally, the areas of irregular asphalt could be removed and replaced. This would be potentially a significant project. Involve removing the old asphalt and probably the subsurface, replacing that at considerable cost. So as an alternative to that, we've looked at trying to improve the surface itself without removing any material. So this is basically involves a coating system. So we've looked at what's been applied to other similar pickleball courts. It's really similar to what's used on tennis courts. So it's an acrylic-based system. There's basically three components to that. So one is to fill in the cracks or larger crevices. then a base coat, and then a final coat, which is a color coat. We've been in contact with some of the authorities for pickleball. So one of them being Pickleball Canada. So they're basically advocating this type of coating system as a recommended option for pickleball courts. And then they've indicated that overall, a properly prepared and coated acrylic surface remains the most reliable, cost-effective, and widely recommended choice for outdoor pickleball play. So while the acrylic coating systems have basically a strong endorsement from some of the authorities on pickleball courts, this is a somewhat unique application where the court is on a hockey rink, so covered by ice for several months of the year. And there's some question around how an acrylic surface would stand up in that environment. So many of the suppliers weren't willing to commit to longevity of their product in that case. So we dug a little bit deeper and we're able to find a very similar application in Saskatchewan, where acrylic coating was applied on a hockey rink surface, similar to the Killu rink. It was applied in 2024, and so far it's been standing up quite well. There's some minor repairs done after the winter ice. They didn't see any interference with the use of the facility for an ice hockey rink. In fact, they actually tried to accommodate that further by selecting a relatively light colored coating that could be applied, and that helped keep the ice intact for a longer period during the spring because it was not a dark color. So that option seems to have some good merit in this case. We did include a couple pictures in our submission, so I'll draw your attention to Figure 2, which is an overhead picture of their finished pickleball courts, so you get an idea what it looks like. It's sort of a light gray coating surface with the line works applied. In this particular instance, it was implemented with a volunteer effort. So the Pickleball Club in Weyburn, Saskatchewan undertook all the work for applying the surface coating with some technical advice from the supplier. So that is one option that could be implemented here to keep the costs down, but we'll come to some of the implementation options later on. So the two implementation options we have are really to hire a contractor to do that, to basically supply the product and install it. The other would be to do it locally. It could be done with a local workforce, whether it be township personnel or volunteer efforts. So it is something that the Pickleball Club would be prepared to get involved in and support if that was an acceptable option. And then there's a couple of different options on the degree of the coating, basically whether you apply a final color coat or not. Some places, some suppliers have indicated just a base coat may be adequate. You don't have the same color selection, but you can do that at a lower cost. So we looked at the different options for implementation and laid them out in our proposal. So it's basically the combinations of whether we go with a color coat or just a base coat, and whether the implementation is done by a contractor or through a volunteer implementation. So that's how it might get implemented. In terms of funding, the Kildu Area Pickleball Club does not have the funding to do this, so we would be looking to pursue grant funding for this. We know of some of the grant programs that are available. Initial discussions with township staff indicated they're on top of other grant options. So basically, we would propose to pursue a grant option for this improvement. We could draft that, or we could the township could do that. We can certainly provide some input to the preparation of the grant application. So that's basically what we're proposing. we're here to ask for the Township Council to ideally request the staff involvement in reviewing our proposal in greater detail and proceeding to prepare a grant application for this option. So that's our presentation. We've got a fair bit of detail, I think, in our submission, but if any questions that have come up, we'd be pleased to address those.
Any questions?
Just some comments. I think, thank you for bringing this forward. It's a great and
Mhm.
novel idea. I have to admit, I have some concerns that
Mhm.
the manufacturers won't say that it's okay to do it under ice.
Right.
But you found one at least, I still have, before I committed to it, I'd like a little bit more evidence on that.
Okay.
I think that you suggested that 3 different possible granting opportunities. And that's great. And I've applied to all 3 of those in the past in my day job.
Okay.
I think that one of them is a senior active living center. That's not an option. That doesn't cover things like this, but the other 2 are, and those funding options are closed for this year. So that's like they'd be coming up. One comes up in the summer, New Horizons to apply for the following year, and the other one comes up in typically sometime in the fall or early in the new year for 2027 summer kind of timeframe. That's just a comment, but thanks for bringing it forward.
Okay.
I only wanted to ask, is there any appetite for any fundraising within the club at all to help offset some of these costs?
Potentially. We haven't really gone down that road much, but
Yeah.
I think that there could be.
Yeah. I love driving by the rink, I have to say, in summertime on my way to meetings and seeing everybody playing pickleball. It kind of warms my heart. So I'm certainly in favor. And I do look at this. I know the Round Lake rink is, in desperate need of love but these grants, I don't feel they're competing because we're looking for a big one. We're looking for a totally different stream for Round Lake. So just want to keep those 2 things clear, because I know people are very concerned about the Round Lake rink and that getting the love and, the granting that we need for that. But I look at this is these are totally different grant streams. They're smaller and yeah.
Well, that may come up if the Round Lake project moves ahead. It could be a factor there too, if looking to integrate pickleball courts into that.
For sure.
This could be a bit of a test case to see how well the system works in a similar environment.
But it's like you said, it's like when you say that the one, after 1 year, they notice a little bit of degradation. I wonder after 2 years, 3 years, how much that goes up to. So that would be my only concern, is just the longevity of it as well. So, but yeah, thank you. Looking forward.
Guys, any comments? Thanks, Brian. It was a good presentation, and it'll give us something to think about. And I think you sort of hit us at a weak spot because we just finished our budget for this year. So,
well, we'd hope to do this with no cost to the township. It's really enforcing the project, and we obviously have to look for funding sources to move ahead.
And grant money is always welcomed in this township. I think one of the big things that you bring up by the surface is that I think we've talked, not recently, but in a thereabout way, that our flooring in that rink also needs to be replaced.
Right.
Because of all the things that you bring up, and plus our ice makers have the same concerns as what you're bringing up. So it's a big project. So the base has to be fixed also before we do anything. So there we go. Thank you again.
Okay. So where will this go from here then? Is it next steps from your perspective?
I think we can keep it on file, and we can pass it on to staff for them to look at it. And I think we should send you back a report of what staff feels, what they see in it.
Okay.
If that's okay with you.
That's fine, man.
Okay.
I'd like it if staff could talk about or investigate the longevity of this kind of a solution.
I think that would all entail what staff's report would be. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, but I think we need their input on what can be done, what can't be done.
Okay.
And like I think Bill brought up a point, the ice on top of it. Like, what is that going to do? So.
Yeah, the folks we talked to in Weyburn were quite open to talking about their project, so it's probably a good resource if anybody's interested in talking to them.
So the staff might call you to see, maybe they want to get a hold of somebody in Weyburn to talk about it. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. And you're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the night. Yep. Are you going to stay there or do you want to go there? You have all your papers?
Wait for that.
Which one do you want up first?
Page 1,
Which one, the schedules or the financial statement?
financial statement. Trying something new this year. We're going to put the financial statements up on, or we're going to try to put the financial statements up on the screen there. So it's a little easier to see and to follow. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to jump around a little bit on the financial statements, just because it seems to flow better with the way I'm going to go through the statements. Okay. Nope. So we're going to start off on page 1, the independent auditors report. What page are we going to? Page 1.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just going to I'll go through this at a statements at a fairly high level. If anyone has any questions, just please ask, okay? Because I never know how much interest or how in depth you want to get into it. So I'll keep it a high level, but if anybody has any questions, just give me a shout, okay? We'll start off with the auditor's report. Now I'll just read the second paragraph because I'm supposed to. In our opinion, the accompanying consolidated financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the township as at the 31st December 2025 and its financial performance and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with Canadian public sector accounting standards. Basically, what that boils down to is that as auditors, we have no reservations on the numbers that are presented in these financial statements. So we're very comfortable with them, and we feel that they are very accurate. Now, I did this last year. I'm going to kind of repeat myself here, maybe again this year. Is a lot of people don't fully understand what an audit entails. So I'll just go through it very quickly. So usually what we do is we come here in the fall and do what's called a procedural audit. And what that procedural audit entails is that we look at all the revenue streams in the township, the taxation, grants, user charges. And we also look at all the expenditure streams. So purchase payables and payments, payroll, and the bank reconciliation. And what we do when we look at that, we test to make sure that the township's internal control and accounting policies that they say that they have in place, that they are actually in place and that they are following them. So that's what the procedural audit involves is making sure that what's supposed to be happening is happening. Once we're done that, what happens is that one of the partners at the office checks the whole file, makes sure that we didn't miss anything, that everything is according to the standards. So that looks after the procedural audit. So then at year end, come back, and what we do at year end is we reconcile all the general ledger accounts to ensure for accuracy and the proper cutoff at year end. So that means that we look at the general fund, which is the day-to-day operations here. We look at the reserve funds, we look at the library, we do the Killaloe recreation, and we do the capital file. So that's basically five separate files that we have to do for the township. So once I get those 5 files done, that's how we come up with the financial statements and also what's called the financial information return, which ultimately goes to the ministry. Plus a set of of financial statements also goes to the ministry for them to look at. So once I've done the files here and the financial statements, they go to a partner at our office. Partner checks the file, makes sure that everything again is correct, that I haven't missed anything. Then that goes to one of the girls in our office who makes sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. Once she's done her job, all of that goes to another partner to make sure that everything is correct and accounted for. Then once that's all done, we're here tonight. Once council approves the financial statements, then what happens is that the financial statements are available to the public, and the FIR, once I get I'm waiting for 3 numbers to finish the FIR from the township's engineer, and hopefully he's promised them in the next before the end of the month. They just got to do with landfill numbers. It doesn't change any financial numbers. It's just landfill numbers. And so once I get those 3 numbers from him, we will send the financial information return plus a full set of statements to the ministry. And then the ministry will go through those with a fine-tooth comb and make sure that, again, that everything is done correctly. And that's kind of the high overview of what the whole audit entails here. So we'll jump to, this is where we'll start jumping a little bit here on you guys. We'll jump to page 16. Which is the scheduled general operations. So what this statement does is it's basically accounts for the day-to-day operations here at the township. And so we'll look at this. Our net municipal taxation, we had budgeted 3.6 million. Our actual was 3.6 million. Under our government transfers, Ontario, we had budgeted 1.5 million. Actual was 1.1. The reason for the discrepancy there was that the roads projects that were budgeted for this year came well under budget. So we didn't need to use the OCIF funding to finance those road projects. Our Canada, transfer from Canada, we had budgeted 93,000. It came in at 185,000. With the road projects coming under budget, it was, we financed all the road projects with the gas tax money this year. And that's why there's an increase over budget for those. Other municipalities, it was budgeted for $1,500. We had 5,500. There was the township applied for a grant from the county for the banners during the year. We got that, so that accounts for the difference there. Other revenue was budgeted for 608,000. Our actual was 569,000. The reason that was lower was with interest rates staying low, we didn't generate as much interest income as we had expected. Building permits were down, along with tipping fees were down. So that accounted for the majority of the difference there. So in the end, we had budgeted 5.8 million in revenue, and our actual numbers came in at 5.5 million. Come to our expenses, our general government, we had budgeted 1 million. We came in at 937,000. The couple main reasons for the difference there was that in the budget, we had budgeted that the comprehensive bylaw was going to have to be a mass mailing. We didn't have to do a mass mailing, so we saved money there. And also there's a large MFIFA request right now with the municipality's lawyer, and that's still in progress, and it hasn't been billed yet. So I requested a work in process number from him, and he wasn't able to give us one. So, or if he had, we would have set that up as a payable, but he didn't. So protection to persons and property, which is we had budgeted 1.4 million. We came in at 1.4 million. Transportation services, we budgeted 2.2 million. We came in at 1.8 million. Main reason there was we didn't have too many severe weather events for this over the whole year. Plus there was no major breakdowns. So there was some savings there. Environmental services, we budgeted 800,000. The actual came in at 614,000. The two reasons there was this year was what they called the blue box transition year for the township, and so it was kind of an unknown of what the costs were going to be. The township's engineers, Greenview Environmental, had budgeted a number, and it came in under budget. So, good thing there. The other one was the estimates that the Aqua had given during last year for the work that they were going to do for the water system. It came in under budget. So those two things accounted for the environmental services being under budget. Recreation and cultural services budgeted 389,000. Our actual came in at 336,000. The big thing there was in the budget last year, we had budgeted for doing maintenance on the Killaloe Pathways Park. CRC were successful in getting a grant, and so through that grant, CRC did the work. So the township saved money there. So in the end, we had budgeted 5.9 million in expenses, and our actual came in at 5.2 million. So we ended up that we had revenue of 308,000 before transfers. So then transfers is expenditures or revenue between the different departments in the municipality. So we transferred 127,000 to the library. We transferred 16,000 to the discretionary reserve fund. That 16,000 accounts for 20% of the tipping fees that the township received during the year. And that money is put into a reserve fund in case there's any large expenditures for the landfill. In the past, the money's been used to buy a truck for the landfills. and it's specifically for the landfill. Then we had 324,000 transferred to reserves, and we had 159,000 transferred from equity in tangible capital assets, which is the capital file. So in the end, we had net transfers of 308,000 negative, which then ended up giving us a surplus for the year of $232,000. Sorry, $232. And we came in with a surplus of $5,100. So at the end of the day, in the general fund, we had a surplus of $5,300 going forward for the future. So that's basically how the general fund or our day-to-day operations for the township worked out this year. Anyone have any questions on that one? Okay, so from there we'll jump to we'll go back now to page 3, which is our consolidated statement of financial position, or a lot of people might recognize the name balance sheet. So what this looks at is our assets and our liabilities. So we start off with our financial assets, and our cash and cash equivalents is 3.4 million, which is up from last year, mainly due to, again, you get tired of me by the end of the night, is with the road projects, the road capital projects being under budget. We didn't need to spend, we didn't need to use our OCF funding. So that's sitting in the bank account for future use. Our taxes receivable are 1.7 million, up from 1.4 million the year before, mainly due to council's decision that the water and sewer arrears that were more than 1 year at the end of 2024 were transferred to taxes. That amounted to approximately $330,000, which is approximately what the taxes have went up from last year. Accounts receivable went down this year compared to last year, mainly because that's where that 330,000 was sitting a year ago, was sitting in accounts receivable. The investments haven't changed at all. They're 343,000. Those investments in that investment is what is the old Killaloe Hydro's investment in Ottawa River Power. So that gives us financial assets of 5.7 million compared to 4.8 million a year ago. We'll come down to our liabilities, our accounts payable and accrued liabilities. They're up to 605,000 over compared to 248,000. The main reason there is just a timing difference with the road projects not being done until late November into December. Those 2 road projects are sitting in accounts payable. Deferred revenue is up considerably. That's again because of the road projects coming in under budget. The OCF money sitting in our deferred revenue. Our net long-term liabilities, that represents the debenture on the fire hall. So it's went down by the amount of principal payments that we've paid on the debenture. Our asset retirement obligation landfills, that is the estimate that we get from Greenview Environmental. And what that is their estimate if we had to all of a sudden have to close all the landfills and put them back to where they should be. So that's 1.8 million. So that gives us total liabilities of 4.3 million, which then gives us net financial assets of 1.3 million, up from 835,000 in 2024. Now we look at our non-financial assets, which is our tangible capital assets, which is our capital, our infrastructure, our buildings, equipment, vehicles. It works up to be 6.9 million compared to 7.2 million a year ago. And that difference is that we had more amortization in 2025 than we had in asset additions. Our inventory of supplies is very close to last year at 46,000 compared to 43. Our prepaid expenses are up considerably this year because of the computer support for 2026 for the municipal software for the accounting. They bill in December. They want to be paid in December for the following year. So that just to give you an idea, in 2025 that was $8,500. Yeah, $8,500 in 2025. In 2020, for 2026, it's almost 20,000. Just to give you an idea of the increase there. So that gives us our accumulated surplus of 8.3 million compared to 8.1 million in 2024. And that 8.3 million is broken down into our equity and tangible capital assets of 5.4 million, our discretionary reserve fund, which is our landfill discretionary reserve fund of 254,000, our reserves of 4.5 million, our general fund of 5,300, our water fund operations of a deficit of 15,000, our sewage fund operations of zero, broke even. Our Killaloe and District Public Library, 31,000 surplus. The Killaloe Recreation Committee, surplus of 21,000. And our unfunded asset retirement obligations for the landfill is at 1.8 million deficit. So that all adds up to our accumulated surplus of 8.3 million. Any questions there? Okay. We'll move on to page 6. I just go over this one real quick. This is what's called the consolidated statement of cash flows. And it just shows where we got our money from this year and where we spent our money. And so from operations, we generated $759,000. Then we generated another 633,000 in the net change in our non-cash working balances compared to a year ago. So then that gives us that we generated almost $1.4 million this year in cash. So now how did we spend that cash? Well, we spent 175,000 of that in financing activities, which was basically the payments on our debenture for the fire hall and for the repayment of a capital lease on a roads truck. Then we spent 200,000 on capital this year. So that then generated, we with that coming off, we generated just over $1 million in cash this year. So we came in to the year with 2.4 million, and at the end of the day, we have 3.4 million in the bank. Now, whenever I say consolidated statement, that's all 5 statements that account for that, not just the operating.
Will, can I ask a question? Can I ask a question?
Sure.
On this statement where you list your total cash at the end of the year.
Yes.
Does that include in those numbers any of the tax receivables?
No, that's not cash.
Perfect.
It's only cash.
Just wanted to make sure everyone's understanding that.
So that basically, that's the cash, as I said, like in our 5 groups. So that cash is made up of what's in the general fund, what's in the reserve fund, what's in the library, and what's in the Killaloe Recreation. We'll skip to, we'll go to page 10. And I'll just draw your attention to a few notes here now. Note 4 is shows what we collected for the school board and the county and paid the school board in the county. So this year, we paid, we collected on behalf of the school boards $626,000, which represents approximately 11% of our total tax levy. We collected and paid 1.7 million to the county, which represents 29% of the total tax levy. So if you add those two together, that comes out to 40%. So when you look at your tax bill, that total tax bill that you're paying, 40% of that is going to the school in the county, and only 60% is staying in the municipality. Just to show you there. Note 5 is deferred revenue, which is our obligatory reserve funds. So obligatory reserve funds, we actually have the money in the bank for those, and obligatory reserve funds are regulated by a third party. So we have no say, or the municipality has no say of how that money has to be spent. They have to spend it according to the signed contract that we have with the ministry. So with that, we have the OCIF money of 309,000. We have shoreline, which is 15,000, and gas tax of $5,900. So those three add up that we have $330,902 in our obligatory reserve funds. We'll skip to page 13. And we'll just look here quickly, note 11, 11B. It shows our total expenditures for this year were 5.7 million. And that 5.7 million is made up of 2 million of it was salaries, 47,000 was for long-term interest, 3 million was for materials, 16,000 was for rent, and 536,000 was amortization to make up our total expenditures of 5.7 million. 11D, it shows the breakdown of our revenue. Our total revenue for the year was 5.9 million. And that was made up of taxes of 3.6 million. User charges and other revenue was 995,000. Government transfers from Ontario was 1.1 million, and government transfers from Canada was 185,000 to make up that 5.9 million in revenue that we got. Everybody okay? We'll go to page 14. And I just quickly on 14. We'll look at note 13. And just that shows our net long-term liabilities going forward, and our long-term debt obligations. So for 2026, our long-term debt obligation just for 2026 is $155,000. And that basically is our principal and interest payment on the debenture for the fire hall. Okay. I haven't put anybody to sleep yet. We'll skip to page 17. And we're looking at the schedule of the water fund operations. So our user charges, we budgeted 185,000. We came in with 191,000. Our expenses, we had budgeted 230,000, and those expenditures are made up of the aqua contract and the hydro. All other expenditures for the water are covered by the Killaloe area rate. So our actual expenditures for the water for the year came in at $231,631, which gave us a shortfall of $40,000 in water for 2025. Now, this is where it comes a little interesting for the water and sewer this year, is that in the budget, it had been budgeted $86,000 to come out of the Killaloe and area reserve to balance the water and sewer budget in the 2025 budget. Now, the big part of both the water and the sewer budgets outside of the aqua billings and the hydro is the numbers that aqua gives us to say that they're going to do, how much work they feel they're going to do during the year and how much that's going to cost. So, which is an estimate on their part for the budget. So happened in 2025 was that Aqua came way under budget on what they actually spent on materials and repairs to both the water and sewer. So what we did was, because we're within the budget of $86,000 that was budgeted to come out of the Killaloe area rate and the Ottawa River Power Reserve to balance the budget in 2025, what we did was, and you'll see in the next statement, what we did was we took $3,600 out of reserves and gave that to the sewage. And we'll get to that after, okay? And then that left us $82,000 that we could transfer from the Killaloe area rate reserve and the Ottawa River Power Reserve. We were able to take that $82,000 transfer and make our water come out that we had surplus for the year of $42,000. Which then allowed us, because we came into the year with the Killaloe water being in a deficit of $57,000. That $57,000 is a carry forward from previous years. So what that meant then is that we were able to bring the water fund operation deficit down to, at the end of the year, $15,000, which is great. Now, that's not going to be a regular thing, but that just happened. We were able to do that because of the difference in what Aqua said that was going to cost us. So now if we go to page 18, you'll see that our schedule of sewage fund operations and our user charges there, we budgeted $176,000. Our actual was $188,000. Our total expenditures for the sewage was $217,000, and our actual was $175,000. Now with the sewer, the user charges for the sewer operations, they cover, they're supposed to cover 100% of all the sewer expenditures. So that left us a revenue for the year in the sewer of $12,000. That transfer from the Killaloe area rate reserve and from the Ottawa River Power Corp was $3,600, which brought our surplus for the year to $16,599, which wiped out our deficit coming into the year. So that then put the sewage at zero, at break even. So we have, going into 2026, we have no deficit or surplus in our sewage. Anyone have any questions?
That's great.
Okay. Okay. All right. It was just a bit of an anomaly in 2025 that happened because of Aqua, and we made it work. And that's, you know. We'll go to page 19, which is our schedule of reserve and reserve funds. So our contributions from operations was 353,000. Our transfer to operations was 92,000, which gave us a net change in our reserves of 261,000. We came into the year with reserves of 4.5 million. So at the end of the day, we had 4.8 million in reserves. And that is made up of our working funds of 3.1 million. Our protection services of 123, which is all fire. That 123,000 is all fire. Our roadways, 544,000. Our waterworks system of 15,000. Solid waste disposal, 305,000. Our hydro reserve, Killaloo, 399,000. That makes up our 4.5 million that we have in reserves. And then the balance, then our discretionary reserve fund, which is our landfill, we have 254,000 in there, which then adds up to our 4.8 million. Ted?
On the protection services, the fire department?
Yes.
What can that money be used for?
It's specifically set aside for capital
Okay.
purposes. Now there's no council can make the decision that it can be spent on fire operations if it wants to.
So if we had a big fire like last year, big forest fire.
Yeah.
We could technically take money.
You could technically take money out of reserves to,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, for sure.
Just following up on what Ted was talking about. So on our provisional budget or under the actual, I think it was 79,000. And we had said something that was accrued, the bushfire,
Yes,
that we had?
yeah, 75, yeah, it was 75,000.
but we included it last year, an amount of 75 or 79,000.
Yeah, yes.
So you're saying that we could have taken money out of that capital reserve to offset that cost?
You could have, if council had wanted to. But there was no need to last year.
No, but I'm just saying we could have.
You could have did that, Chess.
So that would be considered as a capital expense.
No, it's not a capital expense. But the council has control over the reserves. So council can say that we want to take that fire, the money that's in the fire reserve, and we want to fund the forest fire. Because council controls the reserves of what they want to use. When you get to reserve funds, especially obligatory reserve funds, then council has no control over those because you're dictated with your signed contract with the ministry on what you can and cannot spend your obligatory reserve funds on.
Which is your OCIF.
And your gas tax and your shoreline.
Whereas that's roads, bridges, culverts, etc.
Etc. Yeah. And you can't use just an add-on to that. You cannot overfinance a capital project with OCIF or gas tax. Everybody okay with that? Everybody still awake? Okay. Okay. Yeah, we're almost through. So we'll skip to page 24. And 24 is the statement of financial position or what we want to call our balance sheet for the Recreation Committee. It's pretty straightforward. We have $21,000 in the bank and we have an accumulated surplus of 21,000. Pretty straightforward. Page 25 is our statement of operations and accumulated surplus for the recreation. And basically the only activity in there was we made $625 in interest on the bank account this year. That was it. We'll skip to page 29, which is the statement of financial position for the Killaloe Library. You'll see there that they have cash in bank of 29,000. They have investments, which are GICs of 13,000 for a total of 43,000 in assets. Under liabilities, they have a total liabilities of 11,000, and they have an accumulated surplus of 31,000, which gives them 43,000 to make their assets and our liabilities and the accumulated surplus balance. Then we'll move to page 30, which is our statement of accumulated surplus for the library. So they budgeted for $45,000 in revenue. They basically generated 45,000 in revenue. As far as expenditures went, they budgeted for 172. They came in with actual of 180,000. So they had a shortfall of 135,000 before the transfer from the township of 127,000. So they ended up with a $7,800 deficit for the year, but they came into the year with a surplus of 38,000. So they ended up at the end of the year to go forward into 2026 of a surplus of $31,000. Are we okay with that? Now, what I'll do next is I have this is something new for me too. Is usually I present these financial statements at the all-day budget meeting. So I had in the past did up these couple little spreadsheets here to help council with their budget, but I'll just go over these quick too, even though the budget has been passed. I'll just go through this quickly just to kind of give everybody kind of an idea of where things are kind of at. So we kind of hit taxes receivable on the balance sheet and that, but I like giving this one here to show you that at the end of December, we had $1.7 million in taxes receivable, and we had 4.5 million in reserves. So you might say, holy jumpins, that's a lot of reserves, which it really isn't, but almost 40% of our reserves are cash flow in our taxes receivable right now. So if we didn't have the reserves that we have, we probably would be borrowing money to keep things going here to pay the bills because people aren't paying their taxes. Just give you an idea. That's where that's at.
Will, can I ask a question? So from your perspective, going up to 39%, are you worried about that from an accounting standpoint?
Normally I would be, but I'm holding judgment off until July. Because there's a number of properties that are in the tax sale process. And the tax sale process is very regulated, and there's timeframes for each step. And Real Tax, it's a company that the township has hired, and that's what they do. That's all they do is tax sale, the tax sale process. So it takes approximately 2 years from the start to the end of the process. And so in July is the deadline on anyone who the tax sale process was started back in late 2023. So in July, if the taxpayer hasn't either paid their taxes in full or have made arrangements for a payment program, their property is going to go up for sale in July. So that will be after July, that'll be the telltale of where things kind of stand. As if there should be a concern or not. Just to give you guys just give me a sec. Just give you an idea here. Everybody laughed at my papers, but just give me a sec.
It was just
Okay, so the 2024 numbers are available right now for all of Ontario. So the average in Ontario for a rural municipality, okay, the rate was the taxes receivable were to be, the average was 8.8%. So the receivables were 8.8% of the total levy of that year. Okay, we're sitting at 30%. Just to give you some comparison there.
Did you say 30 or 39?
30.
Just a follow-up question, in regards to the tax receivable. Last year was 1.5 million and this year is 1.7 million. The 1.7 million, does that include the water?
You betcha. Water
Okay.
and the sewer.
So roughly, I think you had said 330.
330,000.
So that would put us at 1.46, just roughly,
Okay.
of property tax, 1.46 of property tax and 330 of water not paid. So, and the 1.5 of last year was just strictly property.
Yes.
So we've knocked 100,000+ off of.
Yeah, but but you're using 330,000 still as your receivable for the water
That
sewer,
could be,
which is not
yeah,
right.
which could be different, of course.
Well, big time different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Especially for the people in that 330,000, for the people that are in the tax sale process who have who've paid their taxes in full, have also paid their water in full.
Yeah.
So that, yeah.
so in a way, I think, is it safe to say we should be happy with the direction we're going? In a way, that things are
As I said before, I'd be holding
till July.
I'd be holding off until after the tax sales.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed that iCity, which is the computer software that's used here, weren't able to tell me what in our total taxes receivable, what the breakdown was of the water and the taxes. They weren't able to tell me that.
Yeah, you had that concern last year.
Yes.
You
I
brought that
thought,
up.
Yeah, so I'm figuring that I'm going to be getting a phone call from the ministry, probably in June or July, asking well, what's going on, because on the when I did one of the schedules for the FIR is a reconciliation of the taxes from the end of 2024 to the end of 2025. And that schedule basically looks at, okay, this is how much taxes you raised in 2025. This is how much interest you guys earned on your taxes for the year. And here's the money that you collected during the year. And so where's the difference? And so what I had to do on the FIR on that particular schedule was there's a line there to say, was there anything added to the taxes for collection? So that's where that 330,000 got added to. So I'm figuring I'll get a phone call asking what that all entail. But that's, yeah.
And I just have one more question. In regards to real tax,
Yes,
roughly $100,000 we've spent on real tax.
yes.
Where does that get expensed to?
That, what happens with that is that automatically goes to the, to the taxes, to the person's taxes.
Okay, but there's nowhere that we show that on any of our statements, right? As an
Because it's
expense?
not an expense.
It's not an expense because it goes right to the tax.
It goes to the taxes, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So there's no expense, there's no expense to the township other than that your cash flow on that
Until you get yours.
till we get our money.
Yep, good. Thank you.
So that's that one. The next one is our reserve analysis spreadsheet, and I won't. It just shows what our opening balance is for each of the reserve fund, each of the reserves, the additions to the reserves, and the deletions to the reserves. It's just a little more detail to know where the money came, where the additions and the deletions came from.
One more question. So the tax receivables in this reserve analysis, is it anywhere in there?
Taxes receivable?
In our reserve analysis?
No.
Okay, none of our, like your number of 4572 is the same as the
Yeah, it should be.
as the taxes receivable,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So that 1.7 million of the 4,572 on your tax receivable analysis?
Okay, you go back to the one we were on bits before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I sort of jumped around, but I'm covering both. Is that 1.7 million, it's within the 4.5 million?
No,
That's totally
I'm just using the 1.7
as a
to show
percentage.
you that, or show you that 39% of your reserves are cash flowing your taxes receivable.
Yep. Okay.
We'll go to the reserve fund shoreline. Now, the next ones here that we'll talk about, these are our obligatory reserves. So these monies have to be spent on particular things. They're not, council can't say, well, we're going to spend it on this. It's dictated that, well, what it can be spent on. So our reserve fund shoreline is sitting at $15,607. Very straightforward one. Our next one is a reserve fund environmental, and sorry, they're not all obligatory. This one is a discretionary one. Council set this one up. Ernie Sobolski up there, he had the foresight of setting this up way back when to help cover expenditures for the landfill. So in there, we came in with 237,000 at the start of the year. And then it's went up $16,800, which represents 20% of all the tipping fees that are paid at the landfill. Okay, so when a taxpayer goes to the landfill, whatever the cost is at the landfill, 20% of that at the end of the year ends up going into its reserve fund. The next one is our just below that is our federal gas tax reserve. And we came in with 177,000 in that reserve at the start of 2025. And we spent 171,000 of that on financing the capital projects, which was the sidewalks restoration, Division Road and Mountain View Road, to come up with that 171,000. So at the end of the day, we have $5,900 sitting in our gas tax, which we can carry forward and spend in future years. Okay. And we're allowed, just, a side note to that, we're allowed to carry that forward 5 years. Okay. Our next one is our reserve fund. This is a new one for this year, is our OCAF one. So our allocation in 2025 was $305,000. We didn't need to spend that because of the road projects coming in under budget. So we're allowed to carry that forward and use it in future years. Part of the signed contract with the ministry is that we have to show the interest earned on that when it's sitting in our bank account. So during the year, we earned $3,600 on that money. So that means that now going forward, we have $309,000 in our OCF money.
Just a question. We had something come up this year. It was totally unique. I'm not sure if it's ever happened before, but and I want to turn to the right page. So when we were doing our roads,
Yes.
we had started off with a balance of, I just want to get the right numbers, okay? 200. So last year we never used 275,000, okay? And this year our OCIF grant was 309,000, just rough numbers, okay?
Okay.
So which gave us a total of 584,000. So this was unique because I'm not even sure if it's ever happened before, that where we had a large previous year non-usage. So
this is the first year
so
OCF started for this township that we haven't spent all of our OCF funding in the year that we received it.
yeah. So technically, we could have spent the entirety, like the leftover of last year,
Yes.
plus this year's allotment.
Yes.
We decided on 3 roads.
Yes.
And then move the remainder back into the OCIF funding, right? Is that
reserve
did I say
fund.
that right?
Reserve fund.
So is that a proper accounting method to do that?
Yes.
So right in the midstream, you can take money out of your
It's not
budget
midstream. It's during your budget process.
during the budget process. Okay. You can do that, put it back into the reserve fund.
Yes, because as I said previously when we were talking, with your gas tax and your OCIF, you cannot overfinance a capital project.
Right.
Using OCIF and gas tax. So you have to keep your, if you bring in $305,000 of revenue for OCIF, you need to have 305,000 over here in capital.
Yeah. So that 89, I think that's the number was the difference, I think, if I'm not mistaken. 89,000, I think. So that was left over.
Yes.
So will that be put right into this reserve fund?
It's already there.
Okay.
It's already there. So if we, that next year, if your actual numbers are the same as your budget, okay, then we will use all of this year's allotment and we'll take what we need out of the reserve fund that we have
Right.
now, and that'll leave 89,000 in that reserve fund.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and then if this continues, okay, if this continues, I would be saying that next year, what you should be doing is opening up a new bank account and that $89,000 put into a separate bank account. Because technically speaking, you're supposed to have a separate bank account for each one of your obligatory reserve funds.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you so desired, what council wanted to, is that, you could, right, tomorrow, open up a new bank account for OCIF funding. And the general fund would transfer $309,000 out of the general bank account into the new bank account.
And plus the 89 this year.
No.
Can't do that yet?
You're mixing things up here. We're talking about right at the end of December. We're
Yeah.
looking at a picture of time, so it would be 309,000 that you do, because you haven't spent that OCF money yet. So it should still be totally separate.
I think maybe that's one thing that we'll put on the agenda for future to talk about. To open up that bank account.
It's something you should consider. If this is going to go forward, that each year you're going to have OCI, like if you're going to have an OCF carryover, you should be considering that.
Okay.
Because the ministry is very particular about that when that money is sitting in not being spent yet, is that it's earning interest, and they want to know how much. And then just a side note to the OCIF and the gas tax, because of there being obligatory reserve funds, every year there has to be a report sent to the ministry showing how much money came in and how it was spent and how much interest was earned and how much is being carried forward. They're very, very strict because it is an obligatory reserve fund.
Will that be a negative in their eyes if we carry that forward and have a separate bank account? Like, don't they want us to spend that money?
They want you to spend it, but they do understand that that's why you can carry it forward.
Okay.
But they don't want you to carry it indefinitely. Now I have one township that I do. It's just a policy of theirs, I guess, is what they do is they know from their asset management plan that they have a large road project coming up. And they know that they don't have the money to pay for that large road project. So what they do then is they accumulate their OCF money until they have enough money that they can finance that road project.
So really, our OCIF and our roads, that should be always revenue neutral.
Say that again?
On our provisional budget.
Yes.
It should be revenue neutral all the time.
Yeah, and it always has been.
Yeah. So that if we're ever over again like this year, then the greater amount goes out. Like say 89,000, so that's out.
No, you don't put the 89,000 in.
No, that's what I mean.
Because the 89,000 is not, you gotta remember, your 89,000 that you're talking about is in your reserve fund already.
Yeah.
So you can't, you can only move what you can have, what you're financing over.
Yeah. Last question for you. Are we gonna have a special area rate statement showing what's in the bank, what we have surplus, or
We never do a special,
is there a
you
reserve?
never do a statement for the special area rate.
Is there a reserve for special area rate?
Yes, there is.
But we don't do a statement?
You don't do a statement for
Or
reserve.
one of these documents that you've prepared?
Yeah, it's on, it is on, if you look on the second one, the reserve analysis,
Which one?
it's the second one, reserve analysis.
Yep.
If you look there, the second one down,
Working funds Kildu.
yeah, there you go.
That's the special area rate.
That's your special area rate reserve. So what Charlene does every year, just so that everybody knows, what Charlene does at the end of the year, she knows what council has said that is the expenditures that are supposed to be covered under the special area rate. And so what Charlene does at the end of the year, she goes through, she totals up the expenditures that were supposed to be covered by the area rate. And if there is a surplus, then that is moved into the special area rate for Killaloe to be used for Killaloe, because that is where those dollars were raised, were from the village of Killaloe.
Is there any other questions?
Well, I want to make sure that you understand, because there's been a flurry of emails about the water and sewage again, and we had conversation of it at the last meeting. Are there any questions that you need to have answered? We have Will here to just stop the conversation about water and sewage. Would be my question.
We'll figure that out.
You need to put your mic on.
I was not going to bring it up tonight.
Okay, well, it's just good to bring up while Will's here so that
Sure.
so we can settle this.
Your 15 minutes are up, Will, as a delegation.
Sorry.
Okay. Oh.
So, 4 questions. The line item in water revenue, transfer from reserves of 12,655. Which reserve does that come out of?
As I already said, it comes out of your Killaloe area rate reserve.
So when we see on here, transfer from reserves, that is special area rate,
Pardon?
special area rate.
Yeah, yep.
And then the sewer revenue, same thing, transfer from reserves of 31,000.
Yep.
So that's out of the SRAR.
Yes.
And on the first page, the special area rate of 223.78. The difference between of 59,000, which Tammy had done earlier on a previous email, there was a difference of 59,000.
Okay.
Would that come out of the special area rate also?
Not the reserve, it comes out of the revenue, the special area revenue taxation. Because that 59,000, that is to cover 2026 expenditures. So that's why it comes out of your special area rate.
Yep. And so my last question. So Tammy had done a display, a sheet showing us what was just so I have it. Illustrate between the water and the sewer.
Yes.
And the explanation. So the sewer balances using the special area rate.
Those sewer does not include, there's no revenue come from special area rate revenue.
Okay, so on the sewer, it says transfer from reserves.
Yeah, that's coming from your special area reserve, not from the special area rate taxation.
Okay, so that number and the revenues, that balances out.
Yes.
Okay, And so then when we look at and compare that with the water, so the amount of 12,655, that comes out of the special area rate reserve also, right?
12,000, yes, because you're balancing, you're balancing, you're balancing your water.
Yep. So then the difference is 59,879,
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
So that number comes out of your taxation
yes. I would,
on your front page,
better, just
special area rate.
specific, your area rate taxation.
Special area rate taxation. Okay. So that comes out of the 223.
Yes,
So what I was trying to get at was that 59,000, should it not be shown as it's coming out? So that the water revenue and expenses balance? As opposed to, like, right now, water is out 59,000. But the justification is that the 59,000 comes out of the special area rate.
that's right.
So not having a specific line item for that, showing that, one would say it's not revenue neutral. But yet we know it is because it's coming out of the 223.
But
Well, I'll
you could
answer.
say the same thing for the roads.
Yes, for the roads.
It's the same situation. So if OCIF and gas tax do not balance out the road project, we take from road reserves, which is the same line item that shows that that's where it balances itself out.
I'm not disputing it's not balancing. All I'm saying is that should there not be something there that shows the 59,000 is coming out of that special area rate taxation?
There's no need.
Mhm.
There's no need. Because that's what, that's your special area rate taxation is specifically for and raised for to cover expenditures specifically for the village Killaloe.
What did we do with the special area rate this year? We reduced the rate
10%
to 10 by
by
10%.
10%.
And you're okay when we do that?
That's a political decision.
So that takes care of the water. The sewer, that part, the same, we don't necessarily take anything out of the taxation account. It only comes out of the reserve, right?
Yes, because the sewer is all the expenditures for the sewer are covered by the by the billing by the users. And if there is a shortfall in a particular year for the budget, then the money comes out of the Killaloe reserve.
Yeah. So like this year, the shortfall of sewer was 31,000.
There you go.
And that year to year, that fluctuates, right?
Well, yes, it depends because we're talking budget. So yeah, whatever is required in the budget, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, I know in your, maybe I shouldn't get into this, but I know in your thing, in your emails here, I don't know how much, more transparent or easier understood that this could be made. To me, it's
Yeah, it
very
could be.
straightforward.
Okay.
And I think staff understand it, and I know council understand it.
I got it the first time you explained it several years ago. And then you reinforce it every year when we have these same questions. So thank you. I think it's pretty transparent.
As I said, I wasn't going to bring it up, so that's fine. Karen, anything else? Yep.
You said earlier about 40% of the tax dollars for the school board.
Yeah.
And do you know off the top of your head what percentage the OPP is?
8%.
8%. So 49 cents out of every dollar that comes in is automatically gone.
It's gone.
Just so taxpayers understand.
Yeah, she's gone.
Thank you.
It probably would have been higher if we would have, if they would have tapped us at 19%. Because they lowered it to 11%.
11%, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't see any other questions.
Okay, no, okay.
Thank you for your report.
Okay, well, I'll just,
Oh.
sorry, I'll just do one little sidebar here too, if that's okay with that, it won't take long. I just, one thing I just want, just so that everybody understands or knows, there was, this year again, another anomaly for this year was a lot of problems with the computer software here this year. It's no fault of staff, it was just one of those things. I guess, everybody would remember that the final tax bills were late this year getting out, okay? Just to give you guys an idea, it took quite a while to find it. I was here for a while. When Charlene ran the final tax bills, there was approximately 100 tax bills that were charged to Killaloe special area rate in error. And we had to find them. So that took a long time to find those 100 tax bills. And then on top of that 100 tax bills, there were 6 tax bills in particular that the incorrect assessment had been used for the tax bill. And we had to find those too. So that took a lot of time. And that was not an error here, was an error by iCity. So that was why the tax bills were late getting out. And then through the year, there was a number of computer glitches that affected the trial balance, the taxes receivable, and the bank reconciliation that we had to find and make work. And one of those computer glitches really affected the year end, because the trial balance at one point didn't bounce. And so normally what I do, since we were on the topic of water and sewer, we'll stay on water and sewer, is when I'm doing the year end, once I know that everything is basically done, what I do is I physically, through journal entry, take all the water and sewer expenditures and revenue out of the trial balance, so that I know then exactly what the general fund surplus or deficit is. Normally, I do that in one day. I put the water and sewer back in once I approved it. Well, I didn't want to take the chance of putting that back in because because the trial balance didn't balance. So instead of that all happening in one day, it was over 2 weeks that I had. If anybody ran a provisional budget or a trial balance, would say, "Holy jumpers, there's something wrong here." Well, the reason there wasn't anything wrong. It was just the water and sewer. I hadn't put it back in because I didn't want to take a chance that if I put it back in, it would create even a bigger problem with the trial balance. So yeah, so that's just a little sidebar to everything. I can't thank staff here enough for all the work that they do here, and the help they give me on getting this getting this audit done every year. And I also say too is I've lost count, but as long as Greenview Environmental get us the numbers for the landfill as quick as they can, then I can get the FIR in. And I think we're up to 6 or 7 years now where this township has won the FIR award for getting the FIR in and being 100% correct. So it's a great that there's not too many municipalities in Ontario who can say that.
Well, thank you very much, Will, for all your work, and thank you for the report. And I think you made us look good again.
I try.
So I do have a resolution to accept the financial statements. Moved by Maureen McMillan, second by Ted Brown. Be it resolved that Council for the Township of Killu, Haggerty, and Richards hereby accepts the audited financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2025 for the Township of Killu, Haggerty, and Richards.
All those in favor? Carried.
Tammy, when will the statements be available to the public?
Hopefully tomorrow they'll be on the website.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I only have one last thing. I just need a couple signatures. This letter is just. So all this letter that I get the mayor and Tammy to sign. This is just what this letter says is that that the township has given me the one and only set of books for the township. Basically, that's layman's terms of what this letter says.
And it should be at some, not.
Some ratios.
I need a county budget.
Yeah, if you're not getting that, no, the ratios aren't gonna be there, so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's normal.
Oh, okay.
That's normal.
Then you're supposed to bend down. So we gotta get that. And, get some of the conversation rate. We're gonna do that. And, we're supposed to get back to it.
No, I need the whole county budget package. Cause that gives me the tax rates, the tax ratios. So Charlene then, can run the tax.
Yeah, it won't be. I'd be really surprised with the system.
Okay, I'm just gonna have. Thank you.
That's it, so moving on. Anyone need a break? No break? Okay, minutes of the previous meeting. Regular council meeting, March 3rd, open and closed.
Moved by Ted Brown, second by Harold Levine. Motion to approve the minutes of the regular council meeting of March 3rd, 2026, open and closed session, understanding that closed minutes remain confidential.
Okay. Great. Meeting of the full meeting, January 13th, open and closed, and February 10th. Okay.
Moved by Ted Brown, second by Maureen McMillan. Motion to approve the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meetings of January 13th, 2026, open and closed sessions, and February 10th, open session, understanding that closed minutes remain confidential.
Questions or discussion? All in favor? Carried. And special meeting of February 26th, open session.
Moved by Harold Levine, second by Ted Brown. Motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of February 26th, 2026, open session.
Questions or discussion? All those in favor? Carried.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we have to continue with the committee of the whole meetings.
As in, why?
Well, our normal meetings, with this one's an exception, but our regular meetings now last about an hour. Our committee of the whole meetings last a half an hour. 15 minutes. The only thing we do at committee meetings is the heads of departments come in, give the reports that they used to give at regular council meetings. to me, it's, what is it, $2,000 roughly, meeting. Just wondering why we have to have it.
Good question.
I'd add to that, when you suggested that we have these meetings, as I recall it, part of your rationale was that they were to be to replace committee meetings that weren't happening. And since then, we haven't done almost no we haven't done almost any committee business in those meetings. As Ted said, it's just department reports.
Well, that's because all of the committees have been dissolved and everybody who was ahead of a committee has been removed. And the whole purpose of committee of the whole meetings is that all of the committees should be able to come to council, like economic development and planning and human resources, but all those committees were resolved. That's what a true committee of the whole would be, is that every committee would come with a report on, oh, this is happening, this is happening. But not only were all of the committees dissolved, now we have people coming to the committee of the whole meetings who used to just come to regular meetings, and they take about 20 minutes, and they are a complete waste of everybody's time, when they could just be coming to these meetings as usual, unless we're going to reinstall committees.
Excuse me. Oh, I was talking to a mayor with many years of experience, and they formed a committee of the whole, but it was for committees. Like he said, if you get 4 people and the mayor, or 3 people and the mayor on the committee, and you decide something, well, then it's got to be brought back to council. You have to meet, you decide there what you're going to do with it, and then bring it back to council. And as you said, we have no committees.
We'll see what we can do. Okay. Any other problems with any of their other dates?
So I assume that's.
No,
Continue
not,
with these meetings.
no, I'll let you know. Examining the accounts. Questions? Counselor Keely, okay? Okay. Then we'll move on to correspondence. Township of Perry, I believe we have a resolution.
Moved by Bill Smith, second by Harold Levine, whereas Council for the Township of Perry passed resolution number 2026-078 on February 18th, 2026, regarding amendments to the Canada Post Corporation Act, where legislative requirements to provide reduced postal rates for library materials have been removed. Now therefore be it resolved that Council for the Township of Kildoot, Haggerty and Richards hereby expresses its support for the resolution adopted by the Township of Perry, which is attached, and that this resolution be forwarded to the Honorable Joe Lightbound, Minister of Government Transformation, Public Works and Procurement, MP Cheryl Gallant, MPP Billy Deneau, and all Ontario municipalities for their consideration and endorsement.
All those in favor? Carried. Heather Inwood Montrose, Small Business Advisor, Enterprise, Renfrew County. Township of McNabb, Braeside. Eorn. City of Ottawa. Rideau Lakes. Renfrew County District and District Health Unit. Town of Whitby.
I think they've already supported.
Probably not from them, but from someone else, maybe.
Yeah, not sure.
It sounds,
We did.
it sounds familiar. And Ministry of Natural Resources. Okay, moving on to bylaws. Bylaw number 18.
Moved by Ted Brown, second by Maureen McMillan, that bylaw number 18/2026 being a bylaw authorizing the execution of an amending agreement between the corporation of the Township of Killu, Hagerty, Richards and Automotive Material Stewardship, Inc. be given its first, second, and third reading and finally passed the 17th day of March 2026.
All those in favor? Carried. And unfinished business.
Uh, that letter that Dave talked about from Kathy Marion earlier,
Mhm.
I don't have it. Would you be able to email that to me?
I can.
Okay.
I believe it's on the website too,
Okay.
on like underneath where that meeting where I read it aloud.
Okay.
I believe it's under correspondence, but I can get it to you.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Resolution under unfinished business. Kildu wastewater system annual report.
Moved by Harold Levine, second by Ted Brown. Be it resolved that Council for the Township of Kildu, Hagerty, and Richards hereby approves and adopts the January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025 annual reports for the Kildu drinking water system and the Kildu wastewater system.
All those in favor? Carried. And a resolution for the. Did you do both at the same time? Okay. OCIF gas tax allocation. I guess we covered that, right?
Yeah, and I just wanted to let council know that that's that little package there that shows that we don't overcompensate for the OCIF and gas tax when it comes to the roads. And there's other aspects. So if you have any questions, just don't hesitate to reach out.
And part D, library special event alcohol service agreement and special event permit.
So the library has submitted their special event alcohol service agreement and we got from it, and I'm asking council for consideration to waive the $3,000 refundable fee for the special event alcohol service agreement and the $100 license fee pursuant to bylaw 13/2021.
Any questions? All those.
We do have a resolution.
Resolution.
Yeah. Moved by Ted Brown, second by Harold Levine, whereas the Kildoon District Public Library Board requested approval to host a fundraising dinner with alcohol on April 11th, 2026 at the municipally owned library. And whereas council approved this request on February 3rd, 2026, now therefore be it resolved that council further waives the $3,000 refundable security deposit under the special event alcohol service agreement and the $100 license fee pursuant to bylaw number 13/2021 and authorizes township staff to execute all necessary agreements in accordance with the bylaw 40/2008 and bylaw 13/2021.
All those in favor? Carried. And under new business, statement of council remuneration.
And that's
For-
something that I have to do every year.
For
and
everyone's
just
information.
Presented it to council.
And I think that's it. So. We're adjourned.
Confirming bylaw, moved by
Confirming
Ted
bylaw.
Brown, second by Maureen McMillan, that bylaw number 19/2026 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council of the Township of Kildu, Hagerty, and Richards at its regular council meeting held on March 17th, 2026 be given its first, second, and third reading and finally passed the 17th day of March 2026.
All those in favor? Carried. And motion for adjournment.
Moved by Ted Brown, second by Maureen McMillan, motion to adjourn the regular council meeting of March 17th, 2026 for the Township of Kildu, Hagerty, and Richards.
All those in favor? Carried.